To the war in Ukraine. We so often focus on the death and destruction caused by the war, but for the children caught in the middle, it has meant a life of disruption and fear. Kids being orphaned or deported from Russia, away from their homes and their country. Tonight, we explore those stories of separation. Britt Clennett has more on the fight to reunite some of those families.
Matvey and his little sisters, Svetoslava and Sasha, are just like any other kids. Playful and full of joy. But these Ukrainian children who live with their adoring father were only recently being prepared for adoption in Moscow.
I spoke to Dad and said, they're making us choose whether to be sent to a foster family or an orphanage. I told the staff I'll answer after I speak to my dad, but they were hurrying me.
Matvey, do you feel like they were pushing you to be adopted into Russian families?
Yes.
Yes? You felt that from them?
Yes. I knew they were trying to force me into a foster family. They told me it would be worse in an orphanage, but Dad always said temporary means permanent.
But this is what the Putin regime wants you to see. Helpless Ukrainian orphans greeted with teddy bears by loving Russian couples ready to take them in. In reality, Russia is deporting thousands of children out of Ukraine from areas it invaded and raising them as Russian. According to the Ukrainian government, more than 11,000 children have been taken so far. Only around 100 have made it back. Some are orphans, some of them orphaned because of this war, while others have parents back in Ukraine anxiously waiting for their return. Wayne Jordash is a Kyiv-based humanitarian lawyer investigating war crimes in Ukraine.
The removal of children is one of the specified acts which are necessary to be established in order to prove genocidal intent. The transferring of children from one group to another. And this is a very clear example of that.
Signs point towards a systematic strategy aimed at absorbing the stolen children into Russia. Now based in Latvia, Matvey's father Yevhen shows us evidence of his kids' abduction. It's marked with an official stamp from the Russian-backed self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic.
He's showing me a list of 31 kids, an official list of 31 kids taken from Mariupol to Russia, including Matvey.
Yevhen was separated from his children at a border checkpoint, just as the family were trying to flee the besieged Mariupol. Imprisoned on suspicion of military links, Yevhen finally released after 45 days to the shock of his life. His children gone.
They said, your birth certificates have been sent to Moscow with your children. As far as I knew, I wouldn't see them again for however many days. Of course, I was hysterical.
After a frantic search, Yevhen made headway with the help of a secretive network of volunteers from within Russia, communicating via the app Telegram, the volunteers sorting his paperwork, booking his transport, and taking him in along the way.
A car took me to Novoazovsk on the border. Local KGB officers interrogated me, strip searched me, and eventually allowed me to pass.
At the same time, the children say boarding house staff were pressuring them to make a decision, choose foster care or an orphanage.
They were telling the children, your father can't make it, you have to decide.
But after 90 days of separation, Yevhen finally made it to his children.
I can't explain it in words. It's just something you have to feel. You go through all the circles of hell to finally reach your child.
Although Svetoslava is now adjusting to her new school in Riga, she hopes to one day return to her home in Mariupol.
I miss Mariupol. I was afraid that Putin might come. There were posters of him everywhere.
That anxiety is something mother of two Larissa knows all too well. Larissa shows me a section of the road outside of Kyiv where Russians had set up a checkpoint. This is where her sons were taken from while riding their bikes back from the village during occupation. Larissa spent an hour trekking through the forest at night, knowing that it was potentially mined with explosives, to get any information from the Russian soldiers.
I couldn't see where I was going because I was crying so much. They saw me crying. They saw me trying to find out where my sons were. But they told me nothing. I just heard some gunshots and I thought maybe they killed them. And I asked, "Did you kill them?" They said nothing.
This is one of her sons, 17-year-old Slava, recounting to police what happened that day.
They put us into the vehicle, took us to Chernobyl, where they put plastic bags over our heads. Then, when we arrived, they tied our hands and blindfolded us with scotch tape. They beat us up and then took us further to Belarus.
Slava ended up at an orphanage in Minsk.
He was beaten. They used electric shock on him. Then they brought him to Belarus and just threw him away like a small kitten. I just can't understand how it's possible, how you can treat people like that.
Slava still reels from the horrors of his abduction, suffering with post-traumatic stress. In Slava's case, the police were able to find out which brigade was behind his alleged kidnapping by piecing together evidence from the scene. But this is a rare success story. Kyiv's chief of police, Andriy Nebitov, says the task of getting all the kids home is overwhelming.
It's truly an enormous job. We still have 4 kids in the Kyiv region whose parents say were taken to Russia. We have some evidence, but it's impossible to reach the children and talk to them now.
Why is the big question. Is it because they fear their population demographics are against them? They need more people, more families? Do they need more white families to satisfy the idea of Russian purity? That's another possibility. Or do they just want to destroy the Ukrainian people?
For Yevhen and his kids, now settled into a new life in Latvia, the recovery process has begun. But thousands remain displaced, and more cases of abduction are arising almost each week. And so for many Ukrainian families, the nightmare is far from over.
Such a heartbreaking yet important story to be told. Our thanks to Britt for that.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.